Hey guys, welcome back to our review slash podcast. And today we're going to be talking about Soul and Wonder Woman. One of them I love, one of them I completely abhor. So we'll get into it. So first, I think it's good that we talk about Wonder Woman because I don't want to talk about it any more than I need to. Um, but uh, uh, first, scores, personal scores. What would you guys give Wonder Woman on a scale of 0 to 10?
Go ahead, Jessica.
I'd say maybe a 5 for the
Five.
effects, the costumes. But as a movie, to me, it was so different than the first part. The first part was a really good movie, or at least I think it was. But this one, honestly, I can't remember most of the movie. So it wasn't that great.
Yeah, it's pretty forgettable. And I mean, I don't
Yeah,
share the
there you go,
same
forgettable.
I don't share the same enthusiasm for the first film, but this one was worse than the first one, for sure. What about you, Eddie? What would your score be?
I would give it a 10 just because Gal Gadot is my woman crush. No, but yeah. So I'll say it's not a good movie, right? I would give it like a 4 as a movie, right? But with the caveat that if they had made it as we talked about this, if they had made it like a show, it would receive a much higher score. Like if it were
Right,
like a Justice League, the animated series type of show, it would have been much better.
right. And that's interesting that you were saying that because I personally feel like shows nowadays, and I mean probably not then, but even some cartoon shows at that time, like if you look at Teen Titans and stuff like that, I feel like they have storylines that, while in some respects they have a small scope, right? Their execution is pretty like good. Like you can tell that
Tight, yeah.
these people understand what these characters are about and stuff. And I feel like Wonder Woman, it's almost it's like if it's Wonder Woman, almost purely just like the branding of it, and that's it. Like it could have almost been almost because there's some aspects of it that aren't, but it could have almost been any other superhero movie in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
it, it leeches off a lot from other superhero films, and not even good ones to begin with. And so, but I don't know. Like I think in some ways, yes, for sure. But I think in other ways, I think even shows of back then, even cartoon shows, even kids shows, have shown that they can do a better job, basically.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think so. Yeah, and we can talk about that. I think for sure, it has its major flaws, even in kind of like a segmented format, like a show.
Hmm.
But I think in terms of for me, there's a lot of flaws with the movie, right? But the biggest flaw was like you mentioned, the scope. It didn't feel, aside from a few parts here and there, it didn't really feel like it had the scope of a movie, like the epicness of a movie, and that's something that would have been a lot. It's something that would have been a lot more successful if it had been broken down into chunks.
And
And yeah, go ahead.
oh yeah, and I was gonna say, what's interesting about you talking about scope? Like, I think that's definitely one flaw of it, but in a sense, it almost kind of isn't, because we've seen nowadays movies have small scopes and still be very good, like in the sense, or still feel epic. Like I don't know if you ever seen a Dread with Carl Urban.
Yeah, I've been wanting to because of Carl Urban, but I haven't.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Well, you see that one. It takes place in an apartment complex, and it takes place there the entire time. And I mean, it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like they still find ways to make it feel epic, even though the scope is obviously incredibly, incredibly small. Um,
Mm.
but I do think that yes, in this respects, the movie was trying to be epic, but at the same time, small scope, and that kind of probably hindered them, especially since they didn't know how to really kind of meld the two in a more cohesive way. Because I feel like, for example, Avengers Endgame, it kind of has like a small scope in like the first hour of that movie, right? Because we're just going in and hearing about these heroes' lives, and like you see Captain America in a like a AA. Well, it's not an AA meeting, but it's kind of like
Yeah,
it's kind of a style like that, right?
same
Because
vibe.
because they lost their people and stuff, And then obviously it balloons, right? Its scope, right? Because you start taking in time travel, and then in the end you have that huge battle. But that's a movie that has like, it kind of manages like different scopes into one cohesive whole. Like Wonder Woman, you could say like her and Steve Trevor's storyline was kind of like like a small scope kind of thing, right? You know, her personal
Yeah.
issues and all that bubbling to the surface. And then you have what Pedro Pascal was doing. That's like on a much, like larger scope. That's like, Thanos at the end of Endgame in a sense, in a different way, obviously, right? He's not Thanos himself, but I don't
Yeah, I
know
guess
if that makes sense.
that's kind of I think we're kind of aligned there because I don't feel like, and I think that's kind of like at the core of why I don't think it makes a good movie, because it doesn't feel, um, you know, Pedro Pascal's character doesn't feel as menacing as a Thanos, for example. And obviously, Thanos has had years of build-up, right? But he doesn't feel like not even like using Endgame. He doesn't feel like a real threat. He feels like, oh, this will be wrapped up nice and tidy by, you know, the third act or whatever.
Right, right,
And
right.
without and I mean that's in every movie, right? But it doesn't feel like there's going to be a real struggle, and there wasn't, at least in my opinion.
No, yeah. I mean, what do you think, Jessica? Do you think there's any struggle within the movie, like with any of the characters?
I think how Eddie was saying, the villains weren't threatening. I think everyone knew, or at least I saw it coming. The sun would bring, what's the character's name? Pedro Pascal?
I don't remember his name.
Well, him. I
Oh,
kind of figured the sun would kind of bring him back to reality and he'll go back to being
oh,
good. I
Maxwell
did.
Lord. Right.
There you go. Yeah. I did like his character. I did like his acting, but it just wasn't, I don't, yeah, it just wasn't like a Thanos scary or those horrible villains.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
to me, it was a very cheesy Christian Wiig's character.
Oh, yeah.
Did not like it. Um,
You want to go more into that?
I,
Like, why, what was it about Kristen Wiig's character? I know
like
you
the
talked to us
whole,
about it, but
yeah, like the whole nerdy aspect of, oh, I'm so nerdy, and look at Diana, and just the vanity in that. Or how we were talking about feminism.
mm-hmm.
Like, if from a
And
feminist, I guess, point of view, I would be like, that's
and
not very woman empowering.
no,
Sort
yeah,
of contradicts. And
Yeah.
then Diana, like, being selfish a little bit for a man that had already died in that point too.
yeah.
I mean, there's so many things
Yeah.
that bothered me that we could break down and continue talking, but
So you were talking about vanity when you were talking about Christian Wiig's character. Do you want to go more in detail about? Do you think it was vain for the way the writers wrote her character, or
I think,
was?
I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I just felt, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's because it's Wonder Woman, and the first movie was about how the women are strong and we're not put into this box, or we're like the damsel in distress and all about looks. And then the second film was, yeah, Christian Wiig, like wanting to be more beautiful, more noticed. And it just, I don't know. I felt like the movie, I don't know if this makes sense. I just don't like that the point of the movie was Kristen Wiig's character wanting to be beautiful and then protecting some guy who just wanted it all. I just feel like they weren't epic villains. I don't know how to explain it, if
No,
that
no.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of frustrating. Like, it was just like
Do you think that there's a way that they could have done it and maybe not be epic, but at the very least have a story that you felt was still worth telling if it was executed better?
I think we could have done without Christian Wiig's character, and then maybe focus more on Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
So
like there's no need for her character, or at least my point of view.
that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say it would have been much more better done if they had made, separate movies for them.
Yeah.
The reason that they're not epic is because they're trying to mash both of their stories into one movie, and at the same time, Wonder Woman's story and Chris Pine's story, and it doesn't really work. It's not as developed as it should be.
There you go. It wasn't well developed. Their characters. I just felt like it was rushed on all sides, and yeah.
No, yeah, it was. Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I mean, I think, yeah, I think ultimately, yeah, if not only if you remove Christian Wick's character, you kind of shorten the plot of the film like immensely, like to the point where it doesn't have to be 2.5 hours. I thought that the movie was too long. I don't know what you guys. Do you think 2.5 hours is too long?
It depends.
I
I
didn't even
mean,
realize it was that long.
yeah, the way they did it probably, but I mean, if they had done it right, if they'd done it well with one character, I think it could have been fun. I
It's
mean,
a, it's
I'm thinking of like, for example, successful superhero movies. We see like we were talking about Avengers right now, like Infinity War is Thanos' movie,
yeah,
right? So that's kind of like, you know, you see DC trying to mirror Marvel. Again, they're trying to put like a mishmash of characters. They did it with Justice League, they did it with, you know, whatever movies. They're trying to juggle so many storylines here, and they failed. It's like Infinity War, they have a bunch of different storylines, but there's one that takes the most focus out of all of them, which is Thanos. So even though it's like a superhero movie, the main character, in a sense, is the villain. And that's usually what DC does well. Because I'm thinking of, like, for example, The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight is, you know, is Joker.
yeah,
They're throwing in Harvey Dent, but really Joker is the driving force behind the movie.
yeah, most definitely. I mean, the Joker. And I mean to that point, like Christopher Nolan. So we'll go off tangent a little bit, but Christopher Nolan did a really good job when it came to those villains. Like obviously you have the Joker, which I knew could have been executed really well, and he did, right? But you have something like Two Face or something like Bane, where it's like you've seen those iterations before, and even their comic book iterations, and they're kind of cheesy. But the way he pulled it off was obviously really, really, really good. But but yeah, yeah, it's interesting because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I mean Dark Knight has two villains, right? Two Face
Yeah.
and Joker. But right there, he finds an awesome way to connect them, right? Because Two Face is only brought about because of what the Joker did, right?
Yeah.
So and almost in a similar way, you could say Cheetah is brought about by what Maxwell Lord is, but it's obviously in a
It's way
much
more superficial. Yeah.
yeah, way more superficial. Yeah, exactly. Um, I was gonna ask, what did you um in researching the movie, right? It was revealed that Patty Jenkins wrote and directed Wonder Woman 1984, whereas she only directed Wonder Woman Part One. And one of the things that she said was that she really wanted Part One to end in a more uh, intimate note, and she didn't want it to have that kind of finale with Hades. You know how they have like a battle between Wonder Woman and I think it's oh no, not Hades, Ares. Sorry, I'm
Ares.
getting my gods mixed up. And she didn't want that battle. She wanted something more intimate. And here in Wonder Woman 1984, you can actually see that she does kind of accomplish that. She has Cheetah for a fight, which I thought was pretty pointless. But you have your action there, right? But you also have Gal Gadot's spoiler alert. whenever she's you know, she ropes Maxwell Lord and like talks to people through him. It was just so convoluted, by the way.
Yeah.
That whole that whole thing. But what did you think? For me, I thought that as cheesy and unearned as it was, I thought it was technically one of the stronger aspects of the film was that whole scenario of Wonder Woman like talking to the people of the world and telling them like, you know, why they should unwish their wishes and stuff. What do you think?
I'm trying to think of like I'm trying to remember exactly what she said.
Oh,
Um,
it's been like
Sorry, it's because my kid.
oh no, don't worry.
Like you said, it was cheesy, but the message of what she was trying to say was important. So I did like that, as cheesy as it was. Yeah, there are other things that are more important than looks and money and greed and social media, things like that, you know? So it is a message that was said in 1984 that could still be used for today, you know?
Yeah, it's still relevant.
Especially in the times we're in right now.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. But I mean, what do you think, Eddie?
Well, so I was just to add to Jessica's point, or like just to kind of compliment it a little bit. I don't think there's anything wrong with a little bit of cheese.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
like
mean,
for example, I mean, one of the things we talked about was how the Wonder Woman 1984 is trying to, at least in my opinion, is trying to mimic, you know, the success of Thor Ragnarok.
oh, right.
Um,
Yeah, we did talk about that.
and that movie's full of campiness, and it's like it's super successful. It's like a really good movie.
Yeah.
I love
So
that movie.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with like trying to pull off that kind of campiness. The only
Mhm.
thing, the only issue that I have with the movie is it doesn't know what it's trying to be. Is it trying to be campy like Thor, or is it trying to be a serious movie? Um, I think it's if they had picked a direction, it probably would have been a little bit um, better made, a little bit more well made. Um, in regards to that ending scene, so yeah, I don't really have any issue with, you know, that particular speech that she gave, and I was trying to look it up right now because I don't remember exactly what she said. I don't remember exactly what the message was. It's kind of like how the impact that it had on me, right? But
Yeah.
I do remember, I do remember appreciating it. I just don't remember exactly what it was. Um, so undo your wishes because you don't know that the harm they're causing you to like I'm tying it in with the message that you had for Cheetah. You're losing that which is really important to you, right? You're losing your humanity, and some things aren't worth it. That was a nice little, you know, kind of um, test of her character too, right? So I mean, so Wonder Woman did have a nice development, even though it was really dumb to see, and I saw a lot of people complaining about this that you know, why is she still hung up over this guy? Never mind the feminist message. It's been like 60 years since, you know, since he died or whatever, and she's still like, I don't want to see anybody else. I'm hung up on him, basically. So letting him go was kind of like a nice little step in terms of character development, and push towards that message at the end also.
Wait, can you say the last two things again? I'm sorry. It's like your last two
So Wonder Woman is
sentences.
trying to be like Thor. No, I'm kidding.
No.
So it's been like what? It's been like 60 years since I
Right,
don't know.
right.
Right, since she saw the guy, right? Since Chris Pine sacrificed himself, and she's still hung up on him. It's never mind the feminine empowerment implications, right? Because it's true that no one, not even women, especially, but you know, especially in this day and age, a woman kind of like clinging herself to a man is not really something that we're kind of looking for. But um, all that aside, it tied in to her end message very nicely, and it did display a lot of growth in the end that she was able to let him go.
Right. Right. No, most definitely. You know, I kind of felt that when it came to those things, they kind of happened too easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like her coming to realize that she made a mistake. Like she realizes it um in a normal amount of time, but then she gets over it, like in a
Yeah,
sense, a little bit too quick. And I do like, in a sense, that it kind of helped her realize that she could fly, because I do remember Wonder Woman flying, and I mean, she seemingly did so in the end of part one. I don't know how she forgot, but whatever. Uh,
It was more like a she's set free now, you know? That's how I took it.
yeah.
yeah, so she has
You know?
nothing weighing her down.
Yeah.
Women power.
She's a free woman.
But yeah, that was kind of ham-fisted. But you know, talking about her relationship with Steve Trevor, I know we talked about this, but just so people can hear our thoughts, how weird was it that, you know, Steve Trevor had to inhabit like a person's body, and like they slept together and stuff, which,
Yeah, it's
you know,
really there's so many ways they could have done it. I don't know why they chose to do it that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what message they were trying to send exactly, or maybe they weren't. I mean, one of the things we talked about, I don't know, either they're super incompetent that they didn't realize what the message that they were planting in there, or they, they intentionally put it in there and they're trying to send a very specific message with it, which wouldn't really make sense. Either way, it's terribly done.
yeah, immensely so. And you know, to that point about them being incompetent, like I'm looking up Patty Jenkins right now, so I want to see if she is incompetent. No offense, Patty Jenkins, but it's because I don't think she is. That's why.
Yeah,
And
I agree with you.
because I think, like me, like I've learned so much. Like sure, I've been doing a lot of um, analysis of books and stuff, right? So it's a different kind of writing, but it's in those analysis that I've been starting to learn, like why, for example, Shakespeare did certain things, you know, why he chose to write things in a certain way and how he
Yeah.
had characters act and stuff like that. And I want to say that a classically educated writer, right, would know better than to put that there.
Mhm.
So in a sense, it would, but you know what? I can't see anything here that says that she was did she ever hold on. Beginning in junior high school, Jenkins took interest in photography, painting, and screen printing. Age 20, while interning at a commercial production company, she needed a suggestion that she should receive film training. She spent 10 years as a camera person while shooting a Michael Jackson music video. Her director of photography recommended she attend the AFI Institute. She later made a so you know what I'm seeing here. She did go to the American Film Institute to learn directing, but it doesn't seem like she learned about writing. So I mean, I don't like saying that she's incompetent, but like it's very possible that I mean it could have gone over her head.
Yeah. Maybe incompetent is just the wrong word, right? I was using hyperbole, but like it's something that it's possible, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, I mean, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt and say that it's not, you know, her fault, but it's still very troubling, obviously, right? Because you have the whole non-consensual, you know, sex and stuff, and that's like, you know, that's something that people don't realize. Sometimes they kind of downplay when it happens to men and stuff.
I was about to say to a man. Yeah.
Yeah. And for her to I mean, especially as a feminist to have put that, it's kind of like, come on, because I feel like a true feminist, they're looking for equality, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Has she made any sort of statements or anything like that, has she, about it?
No. The only statement she had was about what I told you about the ending of 1984, and yeah, I think it's because it's a criticism that not many critics really talked about. It's a criticism that mainly people like us have talked about, and also that kind of what's interesting is that it kind of makes me think that maybe there is some, I don't know, it feels, I guess maybe I could see how somebody could like the movie, but like when I see some like IGN, they gave it an 8, and I'm just like, how do you arrive at, not only that, but IGN is the same place that gave Civil War 7.9, you know, Captain America's. Yeah, so I'm just like, how is Wonder Woman 19? I just, like, I think there's always strong arguments, right, for whether you like something or whatever, but to me, I only see something noteworthy if you point out something that's noteworthy in the review. And if you read IGN's review, it's just praise. without anything to back it up.
Any criticism?
Say what?
Without any criticism.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I'm sure a lot of people are scared to criticize a woman who directed it and wrote it. You don't want to be the bad guy, you know?
right. I mean, yeah, that's always so sucks that that's the thing, right? But okay, so overall, is there anything else that you guys would want to talk about in terms of Wonder Woman?
Not really. I mean, I wouldn't see it again.
Okay, you wouldn't see it again.
Once was good, wouldn't see it again.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I probably would not watch it again. Yeah. What about you, Eddie?
I might watch it again just for Gal Gadot.
Oh, I love her. I love her as an actress. I think she's really great, but I just really like the first part. I feel like the first part was a little bit more serious from what I can remember, and I saw it a few times. But this one, I don't know, it was very different.
You know, that's interesting.
Chris Pine's fantastic too. I love Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. Oh yeah, he's great. That's interesting that you bring up Gal Gadot as a good actress. Do you really think that she's a good actress?
I think so.
What about her acting? Do you like?
Well, I really liked her as Wonder Woman. Very believable. Very, I don't know, the way she is.
Just like
I
naturally.
don't know how to explain. I think, it comes. I feel like it comes natural.
So you think it's kind of like a Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man situation in a way?
Yeah.
Yeah, where like you can't really imagine anybody else in that role.
Yeah, I can't imagine someone else as Wonder Woman.
That's really interesting because I think that's a fair point, especially when it comes to her accent, right? Like she has a very exotic accent compared to an American accent, right? So I think it fits. Personally, I don't think she's a good actress, but I have other reasons why. Like, when I look for acting, I look for something else. But I think the whole aspect of somebody who fits the role, that's always important. Because I know there's people
who don't pick up all of them.
Oh, is it my kids?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I've learned to tune them out.
No,
I didn't hear it.
Maybe I'm in the classroom with my student. You said something?
No, but yeah, that whole aspect of somebody fitting the role, I think it's definitely a good aspect in terms of determining whether somebody's a good actor or not. Because I know there's some people who don't think Daniel Radcliffe is a good actor, but they like him as Harry Potter. You know what I mean? Because he fits Harry Potter more so than anybody else who could do like an awesome job, right? Like if you put James McAvoy when he was 15, right? You put him as Harry Potter, he'd probably do a great job. But does he have that feeling of like he's Harry Potter? Probably not, right? So, well, at least now we think, right? Because we've seen Daniel Radcliffe. But I mean, if you read the books, it's kind of hard to imagine anybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he's almost a fitting image of it, right? No,
I don't think he's a great actor, but he does fit the Harry Potter role.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay.
So, but
just to add to that a little bit, sorry, Juan.
No, go ahead.
Like as far as like, do I consider Gal Gadot a good actress? I consider her a good actress as in the same sense that I enjoy watching, you know, Jason Statham's movies. He's really good at what he does.
Yeah, being like, the way he hams it up and stuff.
Yeah. So like I mean, I wouldn't want him to play, you know, Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. He doesn't have that kind of, you know, those acting chops, but I do enjoy watching his movies in that same sense. I enjoy watching Gal Gadot's movies. She's good at what she does. She's good at filling that role, kind of like to add on to Jessica's point.
Yeah. This is totally awesome. Maybe in another, when we're doing one movie or something, we can talk more about like what makes a good actor and stuff. But interesting points.
Yeah, I think for this movie she does really great because what the other movies was it?
Fast and Furious.
The car. Thank you. yeah, it wasn't the greatest, but the acting she does for this kind of movie, it's really good.
Mhm. Great.
You
No,
know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so right now we're gonna take a little break because the timer's running out. But right now when I re-invite you guys, we're gonna talk about So, all right. So now moving on from Wonder Woman and the terrible movie that is. Yeah. We'll talk about Soul. So.
So
uh, Scores first, right? What did you guys think of Soul? What would you give it on a score of 0 to 10?
I give it a 9, easy.
All right, yeah.
The only reason it wouldn't get a
Same.
perfect score is because of that. Sorry, just because of that creepy. I thought the whole afterlife thing was a little bit creepy.
Yeah, it's definitely creepy. What do you think,
Like
Jessica?
the figures, the people there, they're like the
Okay.
nuns and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say about 9.5. Yeah. So quick story. So I started watching the movie today. Started it a little bit before noon. I did not finish watching it till about 3 o'clock. That's how long it took me to watch
That's
one
wow.
movie with kids. They weren't that into it, so I had to like pause it, and so
Yeah,
my kids didn't like it. I liked it.
yeah, no, I could see that definitely happening with Soul because yeah, it seems like Pixar. Like I felt it when it came to Toy Story 3, for example. But I feel like it's even stronger than before, where Pixar kind of just in a way. I mean, they're still making a kids film there, but they kind of don't care anymore. You know what I mean? Like they're clearly making films for adults
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like
yeah. I felt like it was a movie for adults, definitely.
yeah, and it's almost like your kids have to be almost probably a lot younger in order for them to enjoy something like Soul, because yeah, like I imagine your kids understand more or less little
Hmm.
things here and there, and Soul spends so much time with just talking, right,
Hmm.
about adult situations
Things.
that
Yeah.
Of
yeah,
course.
and it takes a while to get to the afterlife where all the you know glamour, as it were, of animated films kind of comes to fruition, right? Because
Mm.
you see little cartoon characters and all these kind of different funny little things, but it doesn't happen till like what 20 minutes into the movie. So yeah, and it's crazy because it took you 3 hours. That movie is an hour and 32 minutes, like exactly on the dot. So it's
Yep.
so that's
Story of my life.
so but that's interesting that that I would say that as a kids film, it's probably one of their harder ones for kids to enjoy for sure. Just because it spends so much time in the real world, and kids
Yeah.
just usually are kind of bored by that.
I mean, it was a beautiful meaning, and it does make you think. But again, small children, they want music and colors and,
Hmm.
not so much talking. Because my sister, she was watching The End with me.
Mhm.
She's 13. And so she's like, oh, it's such a good movie, blah, blah, blah. But my kids are like, no.
And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
They just turned 9, 7, and 5.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting because yeah, my niece, she also didn't like. My sister tried to watch it and she couldn't, and my niece, she's 5 years old, so yeah, she's in that same gap as well. But she'll watch Aladdin like 1,000 times,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or Incredibles or anything like that. But yeah, so okay, so 9.5. I mean, for me, I think it's pretty much like a 10. Um, um, I really don't see anything wrong with the film, even in that aspect of like, oh, it's not for kids. To me, it's still a good movie, right? But honestly, I feel like it's one of Pixar's best um, in recent years. Um, with a caveat that I think Toy Story 4 is also one of Pixar's best, um, and I also think Inside Out is too.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but there's other ones I can't. Yeah, you know what? Let me look up the filmography because I can't remember all the recent ones. Um, But meanwhile, what was no, no, no. What was the aspect that you liked most about the film?
Um, I loved how they, the way they dealt with um, a life, I guess, like, especially contrasting it with death. You know? And the overall, I mean, and just like I mentioned earlier, the message is really beautiful and much more so than like you mentioned, one a bunch of other Pixar movies. Um, basically, just appreciate what you have. Um, what was it? One of these things like um, I forgot his name.
Who?
Jamie Foxx's character.
Oh,
Um,
I don't remember.
Jamie Foxx's character,
Let me
right? He was
Joe Gardner.
obsessed.
Sorry,
What was it?
Joe Gardner.
Joe Gardner. Okay, it's a name like Joe, and I forgot it. So he was obsessed with, his spark. He was obsessed with music, and that was holding him back from living life the way that they wanted him to, the way that he should be living it. And then he sees 22, and 22, as when she comes to Earth, she's just like blown away by every little thing. And that contrast there is how you're supposed to be living life. I think I think living life 24/7 the way she does is probably a little bit exaggerated, but we are still supposed to have that sense of wonder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely one of the stronger themes in the film, having like that sense of wonder about life, just because if you do stop, right, and smell
Mhm.
the roses, as it were, right, that's literally what she's doing, right? When you have
Yeah.
that scene where the leaf is falling down, and it's such a
Hmm.
mundane thing, but she's completely enamored by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's also it's awesome that like somebody who spent her entire life, as it were, just kind of like um practicing life but not actually living life.
Yeah.
And whenever she does get the chance to live it, it's such a different change for her that it she is enamored by everything. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I think it's one of the stronger cases of like you can think about life, but it's not the same as living life, you know,
Yeah.
like actually
Yeah.
going out and doing something about whatever it is that you want to do. Right? And Joe Gardner, to his point, like he does try and do something about his life, right? But like you say, he becomes so fixated on it that he forgets about
Yeah.
everything else that makes life wonderful.
Like like the one moment that I was just thinking of, it stands out to me is the haircut scene. Um, you know, he comes out of that completely just like, wow, I didn't know you were this person. Like, why didn't you ever tell me these things? Because all you want to talk about is jazz. Like, he's
Yeah.
so obsessed with his mark, his what he thinks is his purpose, that he misses all the little things. He's missing that, human contact is one of the most essential parts of life, right? And
Yeah.
he thinks he has it, but he's being blinded by what he thinks is his purpose.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like the joy in people, you know what I mean, and getting to know your fellow person and all that they're about. Because yeah, I mean the way 22 carries herself is like she treats everyone equally, right? Like she's just
Yeah.
as interested in them as she is in herself, as it
Yeah.
were. Whereas Joe doesn't and it's interesting because you could say he's selfish, but he does it in such a way that anybody in that
Yeah.
situation could perceivably like get lost in by accident,
Yeah. He doesn't even
right?
realize he's doing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He doesn't realize he's doing it. And I thought that was awesome. And you know, it's interesting. Um, it's like such a basic concept, right? Live life to the fullest. But I feel like Pixar explores it incredibly thoroughly. Like
Mhm.
I don't know how much more you could say about it, right? After you watch the film,
Hmm.
and they execute it so well that like I really have. That's why to me it's like a 10 out of 10. I can't think of any way I could have done the movie better. You know what I mean? Well, what was your favorite aspect, Jessica, of the movie?
It reminded me of that quote where it says, "Don't wait for your life to be perfect to start living." And I felt like that's where he was, because remember at the end, he finally got the gig he wanted, right, to perform, and he's still sad. And he told Dorothea he thought it was going to be a different feeling, and he was disappointed. And I feel like that's everyone today. They think, okay, if I make this much more, if I do this or if I do that, then everything will be perfect and life will be great. And it's the little things, the things that we don't notice that really impact more than what it is we think we need. Yeah, it reminded me, yeah, because so I had some medical issues, I guess not many people knew. And so I did die for a few seconds, came back. And when that happens to you, when you come back, you just realize, oh my gosh, nothing really mattered. It's about being happy, being in the moment. And the end just brought me back to that. So it really did hit me in a good way. I don't know how to explain. I just don't want to get emotional.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So after, because the little weird thing asked Joe at the end, like, what are you going to do now with your life? And he says, I don't know, just live, or what did he say? Something like that, right?
He said, I don't know, but I'm going to live every second of it.
Yeah, I feel like after that, for me, my life has changed for the better drastically. I didn't worry about things I used to worry. I've done things I wouldn't do. I'm more adventurous, things like that. So really anyone can, I would say adults, relate a lot to this movie. It really opens your eyes to realize that yes, life is fragile. It can come and go. And the point is to enjoy while we're here and not be like Joe, just stuck on, oh, I need to be a musician and then I'll be happy,
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. It's very interesting that you talk about the fragility of life, and that's how Joe initially goes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a way that you wouldn't expect, right? And just shows the fragility of, and in the film, when he falls in the sewer grate. But yeah, thank you for sharing that, Jessica. That was very, very interesting. Sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, this movie really hit home, brought me back to a lot of things. Yeah.
No, and that's good. I mean, I think that's the best movies do that, and that's why Pixar is still, one of the best. Like they know how to pull at the heartstrings in a lot of ways, and it's great to see that they did it in a way that's respectful still, especially for those who can relate in that way.
Tangent on that a little bit. It might have been a good idea to tie these movies together. I just saw Onward. I don't know if you guys have seen Onward.
No, I haven't. I've been wanting to.
Oh yeah, it's one with the little brothers.
It's Chris Pratt and Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I just saw it, and I didn't think it was going to be great. I really enjoyed it. It talked about a lot of the same, for the people who have seen it here. It talks about a lot of the same themes. It's kind of like, so without spoiling too much, they're brothers,
right,
and your dad passed away, and the plot of the movie is basically they're gonna bring their dad back for a day, so they can meet him, because the younger Tom Holland's character hasn't met him, and Chris Pratt's character a little bit older, vague memories of him. So they're going to bring him back for a day, and they're going on this journey to collect the Phoenix Stone that they need to bring him back. And so along the way, they discover, I'm obsessed with this one goal. I'm obsessed with bringing my dad back, that I missed, life flashing right by me. I didn't even realize that I had a brother who's been my dad this whole time, that kind of thing. And so it's a
Yeah.
very I drew a parallel. I mean, I saw them like almost back to back, right? But I drew a parallel between that kind of obsession in Soul and that kind of obsession in Onwards. You're
Yeah.
you're you're missing the forest for the trees, basically.
Right. Yeah. Wow, that's great. I need to see that movie. I haven't seen it.
Definitely.
Maybe maybe one time we should, like, for this podcast, watch. I mean, not all of them, but like, over time.
Go down the
What?
line.
Yeah, watch them. Yeah, because I mean, I think Brave is probably the only one I don't really like too much, but other than that, well, whatever.
Brave. I
Yeah.
love that movie.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think there's a single Pixar movie I hate. But when you have like 10 out of 10s, right? It's like, it's like a 9 out of 10, which is not a bad thing. In my opinion, it's not a bad thing for sure. Okay, so I did want to talk about one aspect that I thought was very interesting of the movie. I thought it was incredibly funny. I don't know if you guys thought it was funny, but I was laughing the entire time. Did you guys think it was funny?
Wait.
Oh, the movie. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to say a
Oh, I thought you were
specific
talking about.
part.
No. Sorry. No, I wish I could, but I would not dare ruin the delivery on any of that stuff because it's just.
Yeah, some stuff was funny, cute. It was a very warm movie.
Yeah, no, most
Yeah,
definitely.
very warm.
It wasn't even like, that's an interesting thing when you think about it. It wasn't like cynical.
No, it just leaves you thinking, but also feeling good at the end.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
yes, it was funny.
Yeah, I just brought up the aspect because I feel like I laughed at things more than other people do. but I thought the movie was hilarious.
I thought there were a lot of funny parts. Not like super laugh out loud, but then again, I think I laughed at parts that, for example, Pearl didn't laugh at, but she still found funny, right? Like, for example, the pizza thing. I thought that was hilarious.
Pizza thing. Oh, when she first tries pizza, or
Yeah.
oh yeah. That part was funny too. And also like whenever she was showing how she could do her different voices and stuff.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was no, and not only that, but the dude who the dude who's looking for them, the one that looks like a little mouse.
I thought Terry was
Terry.
Yeah, Terry. He's hilarious, and when he terrifies the one dude who's coming out the one who he was coming out of the barbershop, and he just completely like I don't know. I thought that was funny.
destroys him.
Yeah.
I liked all the little cameos like throughout human history.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Abraham Lincoln hated me. Like Mother Teresa.
Teresa. That was funny.
I'm trying to save all the souls except yours, or something like that. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the Mother Teresa one was really funny because she was like, what would she say? I don't remember, but she said something like, I love all God's creations or something like that, but I don't love you or something like that.
Yeah.
She said something like that.
Yeah, something to that effect.
But yeah, that was funny. And you know what's interesting is that Tina Fey, she voices 22. She voiced I think it was Happy or Happiness in Inside Out.
Does she?
No, that was Amy Poehler.
Oh, okay, that's where.
I mean, they do sound similar, but
no, I got confused. No. You're right. It was Amy Poehler. Oh wow, interesting. But yeah, really good job. What did you guys think about Jamie Foxx and how he portrayed Joe Gardner and stuff? Was it good for you, or anything that you thought of?
I think Jamie Foxx is a great actor. I think he played.
Yeah.
It was like I knew it was Jamie Foxx, but at the same time, it was Joe Gardner. So that's pretty much all I can ask for. Like, it wasn't like, this is Jamie Foxx in a character. That it's Joe Gardner.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I think it's great whenever an animated film can have a voice actor and you kind of don't think about the actor. They're just kind of lose, like the way they perform it. It just you just kind of get lost in the world. Like I knew Tina Fey voiced 22, but when she was performing, like I didn't say, oh, that's Tina Fey.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense. Like for example, when I watch Cars and I see Lightning McQueen, I'm like, that's Owen Wilson. Like
Yeah.
he's a good enough actor, but I'm still thinking that's Owen Wilson.
It's kind of the same with Onward. You'll Chris Pratt.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole time I was thinking Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
No, that's funny. All right. So, oh well, you guys gave it a 9 and a 9.5 respectively. What was it? What was missing for you that makes it not be like say a 10?
I think I needed to watch it completely. Now I have so many interruptions because I did forget a little bit, and then I had to go back, and it was just frustrating. But I would say that was my problem.
No, and that's definitely a legitimate problem, especially for anyone else who wants to watch it, and I would assume has kids and stuff.
So it might be amendable if you watch the whole thing uninterrupted.
Right, obviously.
Mhm.
What about you, Eddie?
Yeah, for me it was like I mentioned. I was a little bit not turned off, but like I was a little bit
Oh, the afterlife. Right.
creeped out
I got
by the
questions about that.
afterlife because, and
What
not
about
so
like
much.
the creatures?
I like the idea of all the souls running around like little babies. I thought that was really cool. But the Jerrys, that kind of like, it didn't really like. I think that would be cool, but it didn't mix with the aesthetic that they had started in the beginning.
Right. That's
That's
true.
what got
That's
thrown a little bit off. I love Terry though. Terry was cool.
Terry. Wait, who's Terry?
Terry was the accountant.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
content.
Right. What's it called? But what did you guys think of that whole afterlife aspect? Being, as Catholics, like, did you think it was weird, or was there anything of it that surprisingly connects to what you know about the afterlife? I'm always interested by that. Like, if there's anything that parallels, or if there's anything that goes against, a core, I guess,
Yeah.
idea or tenet. I mean, either or, because I was fascinated by how they approach it. It clearly there's no, from what I can see, it's only hinted at, but there doesn't seem to be any God, right?
Yeah.
Like there, even though there is a blinding light, just like oh, I see the light.
And there's
There's
no
a
aspect of like a punishment either, which is obviously not Catholic belief. Kind of like, so it not to scare anyone away, right? But like there is some motivation to live, not only live a good life, but also to love love one another because of our love for the creator, you know what I mean? So pretty much it's like if you die, you're going to that big light in the sky. That's one of the one of the key differences, I guess. And obviously there's no like we don't believe in like a soul factory kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. It was interesting though, that whole thing. Like,
Yeah, no, I thought that was really cool. I like that. I like the concept.
no, yeah, but it's interesting when you think about, because like still to this day we don't have a clear, like, I guess I don't like saying it, but like a clear scientific, visible explanation as to what makes like a soul or
Yeah.
what it is, right? We only have like kind of like God to like fill in the blanks in a way. I don't know if I have that wrong. You correct me.
Well, no, yeah, that's right. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember. Maybe you told me this, maybe not. I think that this kind of makes a very good case for, the pro-life movement, which might upset a lot of people, right? But you are who you are before you enter a human body.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think the movie does make it a point to show that they don't go until like the person is born.
until the person is formed, until their identity is, until their personality is given to them and all this
No,
stuff.
right. But you see, that's the thing. I don't think the movie ever shows like when they go in. So I'm just saying because I've never heard of Pixar being like pro-life.
Yeah,
or
I don't
anything
think
like
it's intentional, but I think that's kind of the implication.
that. Definitely, I would go as far as to say that. I mean, and yeah, for sure. I think it's
Yeah.
definitely could be seen that way. Well, what do you think, Jessica, about the whole afterlife aspect and how they handle it, how it relates to your own personal?
I like that it was like an overall. I mean, especially for a kid or children's movie, right? You don't want it to be too specific, then you get people upset. But I did like the part where he wasn't ready to die. He felt like it wasn't his turn. He was trying to find his way back. I mean, obviously that's not what it's really going to be like. I did like that when they were ready to go, they were going to go into the light, but you just don't know what's past the light.
Right.
You assume heaven, right?
Yeah.
One of the things they were, as I was reading an article about it, and they were debating whether to go into that, to go deeper into it, but they decided at the end, it's better off just leaving
Yeah,
it.
I think it was perfect the way it was. As far as the pro-life, I can see now, as you mention it. I mean, I don't think that was your intention, but I can see that kind of like a Handmaid's Tale. I feel like it's very pro-life. People don't take it like that, but some do. I guess it just depends how you see it, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, because if you think about it, these women are trying to
I've
save
never
the babies, get them to safety. Oh, you haven't seen it?
Yeah. No, but it's okay.
Okay.
You can tell me. They're trying
Well,
to
it's
save
supposed to be
babies.
like a very feminist show, but to me, it felt very pro-life. But
Is pro-life
what?
at odds with feminism?
Depends on the type of family.
Yeah, it depends, I guess, what group you're talking to and who you're talking to as an individual. But for the most part,
Interesting. Especially that you said they're feminists. I mean, maybe they believe pro-life as well. I mean,
well, I guess that's a different topic.
yeah, I know. It goes into-
But just what Eddie was saying, I feel like it was very. I think I was very happy just seeing the little babies and getting their personalities and then going to Earth. It was just all very happy movie. I thought it was good as far as the aspect of the afterlife and death.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's very interesting, especially because, and I also like the fact that the movie centered itself around music because music is one of the few things that can move people regardless of language, right? And where you come from, right? Like it has that
Yeah.
power to like move you, especially jazz. Because when you think about it, jazz is the voice of I mean, how it started was kind of like the voice of the unheard. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
the jazz movement started in the African American community during, the terrible times that they were all suffering through, and it's amazing to show like how much that music not only means to them but means to people in general. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's interesting because you could have done it around him being an artist or him being. I mean, he's still an artist, right? But you could have done it around him being a businessman or something. But I think the fact that they centered it around music is very intentional in that aspect of being able to appeal to pretty much anyone.
Yeah, I feel like music talks to people in so many ways. It helps them cope, change their attitude, and the way he was playing towards the end when he laid down all the little objects that 22 had picked out.
Mm-hmm.
The way he was playing, it felt very sentimental and touching, and it was very beautiful. I loved that piano scene. It was very beautiful.
Yes, that piano scene was really good. Awesome.
We
All
thought
right.
it was a movie about, we thought it was before, like maybe like a week before seeing it, we thought it was a movie about music.
Yes, same.
Right? It's because soul. And then, it's like, oh, it's soul, like the music, but also soul, like your soul.
Soul.
They're implicitly tied together like that, like you were saying, Juan.
Yeah, no, that's true. I didn't think about that when it came to the title of the movie. I saw the commercial so many times, I already knew what the movie was about. But that's because when I was working at Draft House, I put it like in front of like everything at that time. So, but yeah, I didn't think about that actually. Soul works both ways as the main story and the music that it shows, jazz, right? But yeah, is there anything else that you guys want to say before we wrap up? Well, we'll be wrapping up.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Awesome movie. Oh, that's my time. So recommend Soul. I personally don't recommend Wonder Woman, but what about you guys? Do you recommend both movies? One movie?
Soul for sure.
Yeah, definitely recommend Soul. Wonder Woman, if you want to see it because you saw part one, then yeah, watching it once is fine.
Yeah, I'd say watch it once. That'll be my. And then if you like it, watch it again. But
Probably won't. All right. Okay, so guys, let us know what you thought about our thoughts. You can communicate on the comments, and we will watch you next time, or hear from you next time, or you can see us next time, as we talk about Moon and The Martian, which will be very interesting. And eventually, we'll come back to a modern movie once they start coming out. So, all right, let me stop recording.